save your life.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos, and we are broadcasting to the world live from Phoenix, Arizona. We do have breaking news here in regards to the Travis Decker manhunt. We all know they closed down the Rock Island campground, I believe yesterday, and did not anyone there. They didn't allow anybody to camp past that Sunday night. They had to leave. Now they're announcing a press conference. So we're just waiting for the press conference now. Okay, so that's Fox Local 13 that you're, well, you probably can't hear it. Let me share my screen. Looks like they're talking with, not quite sure who this guy is.
The Keeping Families Together Act went into effect in 2023. And when we look back at the number of child fatalities,
What's up, Amorca,
near
Cheeks,
fatalities,
Eli, Pitbull,
we really
Phil,
saw a jump between
GP,
like
Cindy,
2021
Louise,
and then
thanks
into
for the email.
2023.
Patty,
so that increase
and everybody else
of child fatalities related to.
So this is what I think happened. I think somebody reported seeing a body out there, or a body part, or a decomposed body. Hey, you guys can hear me okay, right? Hopefully. Well, I think somebody, a hiker or a searcher, said, hey, we found what appears to be a body part or a body, but it's badly decomposed, or it looks like the animals might have gotten to it. Well, they don't know. It could be a victim, right? It could be another victim of Travis. So they got to close everything down, get everybody out of there, formulate a team, and go in tactically. Right? We have another victim potentially. They're assuming it's most likely Travis, but they never know. It could be another victim. That's what I'm thinking. So that person reported this. They went in to check it out and positively identified him probably at some point today. And we're probably going to hear that announcement. But that's just me speculating, assuming. What's up, She Warrior?
The privacy of the family and the privacy of the parents, and preventing families from unwarranted intrusion by a state agency. And then on the other hand, making sure that the child welfare system has enough authority to.
Anything I like. What's up, Amanda? Welcome in. Butterfly, good to see you. Amanda says this dude was in my neighborhood. Good. I hope they found him. Yeah, that's pretty scary. If he could kill his own kids, imagine what he'll do to you. Chopper says, I think he's been dead for 3 months. Yeah, it's possible. That's what it's sounding like right now. That he probably found a cave and took his own life there. And then maybe a hiker or a searcher or a volunteer found decomposed human remains, called it in. But law enforcement being careful, right? They don't know if this is another victim potentially of Travis or Travis himself. So they closed the park down, put a team together, went out there, positively ID'd him. And I think they're going to make that announcement here. I could be wrong, though. I really don't have a clue. That's just my assessment. So right now I have KIRO7 local news and live news Fox 13 Seattle.
Dies, whether from abuse or from fentanyl. Patrick Dowd, thank you so much for explaining all of the reporting. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Phil. All right, so it's scheduled to begin here in about 5 minutes. So the FBI Seattle field office and the Chelan County Sheriff's Office will hold a joint press briefing, Monday afternoon to update the public on the search for Travis Decker, who is wanted on charges of murder and kidnapping. The briefing is scheduled for 2 p.m. at the Leavenworth National Fish Hatchery, according to an announcement from federal and county authorities. So why'd they select that area? This fish hatchery. Looks like it's 29 minutes away. Sometimes they'll select a location for their press briefing that has some kind of significance, or it could just be out of convenience as well. Leavenworth National Fish Hatchery. Stand by for incoming news update.
Live desk, everybody. I'm Matthew Smith. We are going to be tracking a number of headlines here from inside the Fox 13 news. Throughout the day. Meanwhile, in just a moment here, we are expecting to hear from FBI officials.
What's up, Corn Pop? Amanda says, have they said exactly where this area they are searching in is? Yeah, I just had it up on the screen for you.
They say that this was linked to Travis Decker. That has changed today. The FBI sending out an update today telling us that they would give us an update at 2 o'clock, and they did, in fact, tie this to Travis Decker again. The father accused of killing his own daughters, Olivia, age 5, Evelyn, age 8, and Peyton, age 9. He disappeared with those girls on May 30th during.
So here's the area. It's a Rock Island. Rock Island Campground. Near Leavenworth.
This is where they're expected to speak. Once they come to the podium there, we will take you out there live. Meanwhile, earlier today, we did have an update.
What's up, Grunge? Nowhere to run. You can't run from the helicopters with infrared. Yeah, you can. You sure can. Control your body temperature. Thermal blankets. Stay underground. What's up, Christine? So they do have it scheduled for 2 2 p.m. That's in about 3 minutes. As soon as they come to the podium, I'll pull it up on the screen for you. Hey, Sharon. Okay, so yesterday they shut down the Rock Island campground. Now remember, that is basically the crime scene where he killed his 3 young daughters. And also the area where they found his white pickup truck. They searched there for about a week and a half and then pretty much stopped, right? They pulled everybody out. But then yesterday, they completely shut down the entire area again. They kicked out all the campers. They told them they had to be out of there by Sunday night. Nobody should be there in the morning. Now, that tells me that either they believe he's there or there's signs that he could be there and potentially could be danger for those folks. But if he has been there from the very beginning, deceased, he's probably pretty badly decomposed by now. It's a pretty wild area. So I'm assuming some hikers, some searchers, some volunteers found these remains, were unable to identify them, reported that back to law enforcement. Law enforcement shut down the park, brought in a team, identified that it was in fact Travis, and now we're going to hear it. That's what I'm assuming. Maybe if you found a cave system like Rambo. Yeah, that's how you're going to find, that's how you're going to hide from thermals. Underground, in a cave. Grab a wet blanket maybe and walk through the creek. Just keep getting it really wet and cold. What's up, Mark? So nothing yet. Let's go to Amanda. Thank you. So if it's him, he didn't get too far. What a total creep. I so hope he's gonzo. I was just looking for updates on this loser this AM. Yeah. So if he took his own life early on, let's say they're able to determine that he died shortly after he committed this horrible crime. For me, that matches up more with psychosis. So that definitely would lead me to believe that he was completely out of his mind. So if he took his life shortly after, I think that's fair to say, right? But if he was to somehow methodically pre-plan some type of escape and tactical evasion, you know, that doesn't match up with psychosis, which makes this that much more horrible. I mean, it's already is horrible to the max, but I'm just saying, you know, things happen when people are completely insane. Now, there was a girl who fell under marijuana-induced psychosis. She was on a first date. She was hitting it off with this guy. They were having a great time. They went to the bar. They went back to either his or her place, went out on the balcony, and they were just hanging out. And they pulled out some marijuana that they picked up on the way home. It was like one of the first times she had ever smoked. She took a hit out of it and went completely insane and killed this man and was not charged. She received no penalty. Doctors determined that she was completely insane.
Kind of happened last minute, late Friday. We started reporting about some details that we knew, but it wasn't clear if this was tied to Travis Decker. I think the writing was kind of on the wall just based on where his daughters had been found killed early on in this search. But they basically just put out this map closing off all these areas and let us know just before they started to do
Grunge says he probably came to his senses and figured it's not worth it. I don't think he came to his senses, honestly. I think he wanted to make sure that they were spared. Usually, when people are captured before they're able to take their own life, they talk about some kind of weird hero complex and that they're sparing their victim in some way or some fashion. So I'm sure he thought he was sparing his children and then sparing himself as well. So he wanted to make sure that he helped them and then helped himself.
So when they're
In some type of a weird delusion, right?
meantime, while we wait on updates from Travis Decker, I also want to talk about some of the other stories that are making headlines
What's up,
in our
Sensei?
area. I showed you some visuals a little.
So nothing yet as far as the press conference. They have the podium all set up, and we're just waiting for the folks to walk to the podium, take the stage, if you will. Hey, Stephanie, did they find the pig yet? I'm hoping that they did. I'm hoping that somebody found his body. They were unable to identify it. These guys went in and checked it out and said, yep, there he is. Yeah, that's interesting, Pitbull, because usually with cases of psychosis, you'll find that. Yeah, for whatever reason, they don't like to be. I guess they get kind of claustrophobic. They don't like to be confined or restricted. They want to be free. They're trying to run, basically running from themselves. They feel like they've become a burden. It's really sad to see. And unfortunately, the cases that I've covered, and this could be anecdotal, but usually it's about a month. You'll start seeing symptoms like with Aiden Ross, Daniel Robinson, just weird behavior, out of character type of behavior. And then issues at work. They can't, they start having problems at work. And then at home, they start seeking counseling. That's not helping. And then it becomes to a point where it's so bad that they don't want to be a burden on anybody, right? Nobody understands what they're going through, and they don't want to put anybody through what they're dealing with. So they run away. They run away from the city, right? This confinement, this restriction. They strip naked. Stephanie says he can't use psychosis. He planned this. I mean, could be a Susan Smith situation. A Watts. Or it could be just a complete what the hell was her name? Let me see. Maddox Jones was the case. I can't remember what his mother's name was. Maddox Jones. See if I can find this story for you. Oh yeah, Allison Jones. I'm sorry. So the press conference has not started yet. So let me pull up this story for you, so I can kind of give you an example. So that's Maddox. This was the case of Allison Gail Jones. Okay, it looks like there's a post here. This case has shaken the foundation. Beginning today, Monday, 25th through August 26th, we'll be leading federal and state and local agencies conducting and coordinating. Oh, it looks like they're still searching or something. Looks like bad news. Perhaps. There's Allison. Allison Jones case refers to a tragic incident in Morgan County, Georgia, where Allison Jones, a 36-year-old mother, killed her 7-year-old son, Maddox Jones, and attempted to shoot her husband, Douglas Jones, on March 1st, 2021. The case is notable for Jones' delusional belief that her husband was the perpetrator of the Delphi murders, a high-profile double homicide in Indiana from 2017. So she was trying to spare her son from his father, who was apparently the Delphi killer,
And task force,
and then tried to kill him.
the evidence response team, SWAT, electronics technicians, medical personnel, and a mobile command post, experts from the FBI's Critical Incident Response Group and Laboratory Division who bring national expertise in child abduction cases, crisis response, and forensic analysis. These resources demonstrate the seriousness with every agency is approaching this case. I also want to acknowledge the partner agencies. He goes on to list the U.S. Marshals Service, Port of Seattle Police, Yakima Police, Spokane County Sheriff, the Washington State Patrol, U.S. Forest Service, the U.S. Army Criminal Intelligence Division, and Central Washington University, their anthropology department. This does continue for quite a while, but I'm just going to continue to read this through because, again, we are expecting that live update soon, but they have not reached out yet.
Right, nothing yet, you guys. Nothing yet.
County, a 7-year-old boy shot to death in his bedroom. And tonight, his mother
This is
in
Allison
jail,
Jones.
charged with murder. Investigators say it was the woman's husband, the boy's father, who called 911 early this morning. John Chiric is on that story for us tonight.
Investigators continued to work inside this home into the night, gathering evidence where a 7-year-old boy was shot to death by, they say, his own mother.
He was in a bedroom in the house.
His bedroom?
Yes, sir.
Chief Deputy Keith Howard with the Morgan County Sheriff's Office says investigators have charged 36-year-old Allison Jones with killing her 7-year-old son, Maddox, and they're also charging her with shooting at her husband, Maddox's father, Douglas Jones, firing several rounds from a handgun. Doug Jones called 911 at about 7 a.m.
Well, he was called to report that his son had been shot.
Howard says deputies arrested Allison Jones at the home without incident, interviewed both parents to try to figure out what led up to the shooting.
We had no prior calls to service here that we could tell domestic related, but the information we were provided right now between the husband and the wife, that's what we're vetting through to see if the crime scene matches their statements.
It's a total shock.
Liz Marchant is the president of the Riverwalk at Appalachia Homeowners Association. Each home in this subdivision, about 70 miles east of Atlanta, sits on more than 5 acres. Morgan County records show Doug Jones bought the home in 2015. Nice neighbors, Marchant says.
Okay, so here's the question. How do you stop somebody? How do you stop a mother who feels like she's sparing her child from some type of a horrible torture or the worst case scenario, right? She's doing him a favor, sparing him the agony and the suffering. That's what she believed. That's what Allison thought in her mind. I'm doing the best possible thing that I can, considering. But what she was considering was the scenario that's in her mind. It's not real. She was under like a delusion. Like, how do you protect anybody from that? How do you even see that coming? What's up, Jari? Looks like a little bit of a delay here. Stephanie says, well, wasn't his daughter found with a house coat around her neck, passed out in his mother's? Wonder who did that. Who's that, Stephanie? Are you talking about the Allison Jones case? Her husband actually did something crazy? That's interesting. A lot of people say that, like, well, what if he is the killer? I don't know. I think schizophrenia is rampant these days. Says standing by here. This guy's checking in.
Live desk, I'm Matthew Smith. We are getting ready to hear from FBI Seattle and the Chelan County Sheriff about the latest when it comes to Travis Decker and the ongoing search. Now, if you were joined with us just moments ago.
No, not quite yet. Oh, no, Decker's daughter. Okay, let me see. Wasn't it his daughter found with a house coat around her neck, passed out at the mother's? That I don't know, Stephanie. Oh, here we go.
We're going to be doing a Q&A after we hear from our speakers. And when we open up for questions, please state your name and outlet before your question. Our speakers today are Peter Orth, and he's the Senior Supervisory Special Resident Agent for our Yakima and Tri-City
You guys can hear that okay?
agencies for FBI Seattle. We also have Sheriff Mike Morrison here today to speak with you. And so now I'll invite our speakers up to the podium to say a few words. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Peter Orth. I'm the Supervisory Senior Resident Agent for the FBI offices in Yakima and Tri-Cities. Thank you for joining us. The media is very important and plays a very important role in the ability of law enforcement to push information out to our communities. So thank you for helping us spread the word.
I hope not, Sensei. They better have them.
At this time, the FBI is conducting a grid search operation today and tomorrow near the Rock Island campground. But I want to be clear that currently we have no evidence that Travis Decker is alive or dead. But we are conducting a grid search operation over the next 2 days. Currently taking place right now. We hope to find evidence that will lead us to Travis Decker or any information regarding the murder of his 3 daughters. By thoroughly searching and documenting the area, we can help prevent the need to review the area in the future by collecting all possible evidence. Today, there are nearly 100
Going back to the
FBI
beginning.
and partner agencies personnel on the ground to participate in this search operation. We have specialty teams from the federal government and local partner agencies all deployed here today and tomorrow for this operation. For almost 3 months, the investigators led by the Chelan County Sheriff's Office and the FBI have carefully followed hundreds of tips regarding the search for Travis Decker in this investigation. It's taken us over rough terrain, difficult areas, multiple states, remote locations that are inaccessible.
What's up, Glam Van?
The residents and visitors of Chelan County know very well that these areas are covered with vast dirt roads that stretch for miles, no cell phone service, and many other challenges. That effort gets more difficult as time goes on. The elements bury, they carry away, erode the very items that we're looking to seek and capture for the investigation. Our search teams today are out in 90+ degree weather trying to gather all this evidence. FBI Seattle wants to assure the communities in Leavenworth and Wenatchee, as well as Chelan
they're
County
just starting
and Washington
over.
State, that this case is a priority
That
for
sucks
the
because
FBI.
it means it's probably going
That
cold.
is why we're here today. This is a beautiful area in which a heinous crime occurred. We are here to seek justice for Peyton, Evelyn,
What's up,
and
Hiawatha?
Olivia. We're here to find answers for their family, friends, and the community. And we are here to hopefully provide some measure of closure to their loved ones in this senseless tragedy.
Closure, you better
We want
catch
to thank all the
the
hikers,
son of a gun.
campers, and the community for their patience as we
Before
had
you
to
start
close
talking
down
about
a very
closure, buddy.
popular area for recreation I would ask people that were inconvenienced by this to consider themselves
Wasting
indirect
taxpayer money
contributors
is
to
an
the search
accomplishment.
operation. To the community, if you find any information that you think is helpful to this investigation, we're directing you to the U.S. Marshals tip line. Please report any information you feel is appropriate for the investigators to the U.S. Marshals. And Sheriff Morrison has some comments.
Yep, Chopper, this is horrible news. And these guys are pissing me off.
Thank you.
They're
Thank you
so
all for being here
cocky
again.
for no
I just wanna
reason.
Publicly recognize Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia again. We have not forgotten about them. We still send our thoughts and prayers up to them. We're thinking of their family during this time. But more importantly, I just want to say thanks to the Seattle office of the FBI and all the partnering offices that have also come out to support this current operation. We've made it very clear over the last 3 months that we have not given up. We've continued to track down leads. Our investigative unit continues to follow up on evidence that's coming back from Washington State Patrol. We thank Chief Batiste and his agency for, again, being a valuable partner. You see them out there again today. I'd also like to thank the U.S. Marshal Service for also being out with us during our search. I'd also like to thank
Money.
No
results, no results.
The Spokane County Sheriff's Office, and our agency for being out there, along with the U.S. Forest Service, the U.S. Army's Criminal Investigation Division, and Central Washington University's Anthropology Department. Again, we recognize Chelan County Sheriff's Office as a medium-sized agency. We couldn't do this investigation on our own without our partners
the National
coming
Guard,
alongside of us,
Stephanie.
providing us the resources we need
To
in
send
order
them
to
through
give
the
the kind of
mountains.
investigation that these 3 young girls deserve, their family deserves, and more likely that our community also deserves. We want to bring closure. We want to bring answers. We understand the frustration. We're feeling it as well. It's been 3 months. We would love to have Travis Decker in custody, standing in front of a judge. We recognize that at times these kind of investigations take time. It's going to take perseverance. And as we saw with our partners in Okanagan County Sheriff's Office, after 3 years, they were able to track down their homicide suspect, unfortunately deceased in a homeless camp in Spokane. We recognize that those are the kind of outcomes that do come over time. So it's going to take patience, understanding from our community. Again, we appreciate Whitney, her family, the girls' families, and
Tunnel
parents
vision.
for being patient and understanding with the Sheriff's Office, and being understanding that our partners are doing anything and everything possible to do a thorough investigation, following up on all leads, and not limiting any kind of resources that are available. I appreciate the funding that's come in to allow this kind of operation to take place today. You've seen this over the last several months with our partnering and neighboring agencies, not only nationally within the state, but also internationally that have followed up on leads on our behalf. Again, the Sheriff's Office and the citizens of Chelan County are appreciative. We'll continue to be appreciative. But again, we will not relent. We will not give up until this investigation is concluded and that Travis is accounted for and or taken into custody. Again, I appreciate your time. Thank you for being here, showing support for us, and we'll take any questions you may have.
Wah, wah, wah.
About why this is such a targeted location. It seems to be site specific. What has led investigators here?
Absolutely. So this is the primary area where the initial crime took place. We've had our agents, our investigators, along with the U.S. Marshals Service and our volunteer search and rescue team that did a thorough grid search around the initial campsite.
We got a Doug
We had our
Carter
investigators
2.0 here.
embedded in with that process. The FBI is now following up behind to expand that out. Based off the information that we've received back from behavioral analysis,
The
on
young
a possible
clone.
outcome of how this may have gone or where Travis may have gone, we wanted to expand our efforts out. And further, we wanted to support and provide a solid foundation for our investigation and what areas we have searched for future investigators when they come on scene, if we haven't settled this or found Travis in the next couple of years. But it's
In
going
the
to
next
take us some
couple
time,
years.
and we're going to continue to do a thorough search,
Oh my
continue
God.
to expand out. Anything. I believe we did a thorough search initially, but
Now I
again, when
really
we come back
hate
with new technology, more resources, more personnel, that allows us to better document what we have covered for future investigations.
Sheriff Morrison, Brady Wakayama with Inside News.
He's just a talking head.
How did you folks decide
Wah,
on the
wah,
time?
wah,
How
wah,
long
wah,
you
wah,
planned
wah,
on
wah,
being
wah.
out here? Just 2 days rather than a week or, less time or more time? Why is it only just 2 days?
Based off the resources we had,
If he's
and
still
again, I'll let
alive,
the FBI
he
follow
could
up
be in
further. They're the
Mexico,
ones leading this
Canada. He could be
investigation and the follow-up
overseas.
operation.
He can be in
And
fucking
it seemed
China.
appropriate with the amount of ground we were trying to cover. And again, we're mapping it out. If we need to expand further, I understand that they can take more time to expand out. But again, we've agreed on those 2 days. We'll reassess once that time frame comes to an end.
And how much ground are we trying to cover over the next 2 days?
As I understand it, we're going about a quarter-mile radius around the campsite. If we need to expand out further, we will.
Quarter mile?
Based off investigations and follow-up we've done with the U.S. Marshal's Office, looking into similar cases, we found that historically and typically, you found the homicide suspect and those responsible within a quarter mile of the scene, either alive and or deceased.
No, that's not true. Oftentimes they find him right outside that perimeter. This is so annoying.
No, again, it's just due diligence, making sure that we're checking our boxes and doing everything.
The same old mistakes over and over and over again.
There comes a time where I'm not in office or our investigators aren't in office. It's well documented. There's a well-established history. Anyone can pick up where we left off. We saw this with the Green River Killer case that started in the early 80s, expanded out in the early 2000s. I can tell you that a lot of the investigators that were assigned to that case have long since retired. Once he was taken into custody, again, we want to lay that kind of foundation.
There's no relevance here.
That long, but we remain committed. I'm going to make sure that we do a thorough job.
He's like throwing some food out there for the true crime community. The Green River Killer.
This is all ground, but we do have air resources if we need to call them back in. And we appreciate the FBI for taking point on that. We also appreciate Spokane Police Department that brought their drone unit before. We've had our drone unit out, along with Spokane County, Snohomish County, King County, our air units, and Washington State Patrol's fixed wing. So we know if we have to call upon them, they will be available. But at this time, we understand that getting boots on the ground and into the thicker brush is probably our best point leading forward.
Sheriff, is there kind of a rush to get out here and possibly try to get things settled?
Good to see you, Kev.
You're closing for the next 2 days, but Memorial or the next holiday is right around the corner. Do you guys foresee maybe taking the rest of the week, expanding into other areas, or is this just going to happen over the next few days and then
they're expecting to find his body?
Wrap up before the holiday.
Is what they're telling us.
We've never been rushed. So this is an investigation looking into homicide.
They should be able to do this and look for and then follow up on other leads simultaneous.
We'll do so. We're going to start off with 2 days. We understand that they're limited resources. These are taxpayer dollars that we're utilizing.
Exactly.
We're not going to be wasteful with them, but we're going to make sure to be thorough. If we need to go out to the end of the week, we will. The holiday weekend is not going to obstruct our investigation or slow us down.
Overtime.
We understand that may be an inconvenience for those who want to come here and recreate. We are a tourist destination. We recognize that, but we're also 2,900 plus square miles. There's other places to camp. We appreciate the community
I hope
support,
so, Chopper.
those visitors support, and we understand this does.
I feel like that's what they're trying to
present an inconvenience,
communicate.
But there are a lot of other areas where you still can recreate, camp here within our county. We welcome you, but for the time being, that area is closed for operations. And if we need to expand out, we will. But we've never been in a hurry. We're going to be thorough. We're going to be detailed because justice remains on it. So it depends on us. We want to make sure that we're doing.
Yeah, that's what he's telling us. They're expecting to find his body within that quarter-mile radius.
You may have mentioned this before, but what additional resources are in this search versus previous ones? What's the difference?
I'll allow the FBI to expand out more on what they brought to the table, but I can tell you just the resources available from the units that are coming in. I've cited the U.S. Marshal Service, the FBI. This is the first time that I've seen the U.S. Army's Criminal Investigation Division on the ground, too. We've had electronic sniffing dogs. We've had specialists in different fields. So we're just expanding out with what we have available through the criminal justice system, and that's not available to the sheriff's office. And again, we couldn't do this without the FBI support, and we're grateful for that.
You might be repeating yourself, but would you mind just sort of emphasizing what role the FBI will play?
Yeah, landscape,
and
big
how they're
letdown.
going to,
Good to see you.
take the lead in the search and why?
They are the leads in this search. They're the ones who put forth the personnel, the funding, the coordination, the logistics. Again, we thank them. We appreciate them coming all the way over here and doing this. We understand what kind of a time consumption this is, what a resource consumption this is. Again, we could not do this without our federal partners. We're thankful for our federal partners. FBI, U.S. Marshals, Homeland Security investigation. We've had Border Patrol out here assisting.
This tells me they're dead in the water.
Just thankful for our federal partners, our local partners, our state partners, and we'll continue to work with them as best we can.
Can you talk a little bit about, the slightly emotional side? It has been almost 3 months to the day at this point. We're still looking. This is still something that people think about every day.
Yeah, I hope so, Mark.
Can you talk a little bit about maybe if it's a little bit defeating to still be doing this today?
It's not defeating for us. We don't give up. We understand that the girls would not want us to give up. I did talk with Whitney last night over the phone. I get her frustration. Of course, she wants the kind of closure where we can locate Travis and bring him to justice. And we also understand that our community is frustrated. We hear the comments back from the community as well saying, why haven't you guys found him yet? And of course, bringing up suggestions. We hear you. We're trying our best. We're doing what we can with the resources we have. We don't get frustrated, though. We're not going to give up. We understand this could take years, and we'll be here. If it's not me wearing this uniform, it'll be another Chelan County Sheriff's deputy. It'll be another FBI agent.
Years of
US
overtime.
Marshal. This is not going to go away till Travis is located. And again, we're going to continue to persevere, grind on, and we will find him in one fashion or the other.
Can you talk a little bit about the current award?
Current award that the U.S. Marshal Service is offering is $20,000. And I know I've heard calls from the public, why don't you raise that amount? Again, we don't control that. We appreciate the U.S. Marshal for putting in the work that they have. Having Travis be in the spotlight that he is in, and also the funds that have been made available to turn him in. I don't think there's anything saying that members of the public couldn't come up with their own funds to offer up. But again, I would tread lightly in there because fraud is a real thing. But again, we're pursuing forward with justice. We hope that individuals do take the award as a serious offer, and we'll continue to work with the Marshal Service. If we're able to get additional funding, we're grateful for that as well.
Can you speak a little bit to, I know we've talked about the terrain extensively, his military training, but what is the likelihood with the type of weather we've experienced that
Good
Travis
question.
Decker is alive at this point?
Good
We
question.
never presume that he's alive or dead until he's accounted for, found in one fashion or the other. I've said it before. I don't believe he's special in any way. He was part of the military. I appreciate his
Underestimating
service.
him.
Right now, he's a criminal at large. He's wanted for murder and kidnapping. We have other individuals on the ground that are
God,
more
I hate that.
trained, are instructors in this field, are actual survivalists. And I feel
Oh,
like they're
they're the
members on our
real
team,
survivalists,
and
not
he's
him.
got a lot of people hunting
Jesus.
against him. I've said it before. He's got
That
to be
fucking
perfect every single
ego.
day. We just have to be perfect once. And if he is still alive, I got to imagine he's pretty tired by now. But we understand the likelihood that there could be a potential that he is deceased. But until we find him, alive or dead, we're going to continue to search.
Cocky.
Question for Agent Orth.
No
If I could.
results, but still cocky
the
as hell.
question was asked, sir, about
That's no good.
resources. Jefferson Robbins with NCWLA.
No bueno.
The question was asked about FBI resources, and I know this is characterized as a grid search, but can you say anything about the people involved in the grid search? Are there people with specialties, special skills that you wanted to have for this operation?
Yeah, absolutely. So we brought in people with specialty skills. The FBI maintains what's called the evidence response team. We have many of those individuals embedded with the teams. We have members
It's
of
basically
the FBI
SWAT.
team embedded with each of the search teams that are out there.
Michael Peasley.
There are a number of search teams that are searching this area. It's not one big team moving around. It's several smaller teams. So we have those experts there. We have experts from outside agencies that are here. So we have electronics experts currently on the ground right now at the Rock Island campground. So any possible
Hell yeah, Elizabeth.
investigative or search personnel that would bring an expertise to the table, they are here today.
The notice of the closure of the Forest Service area came out on Friday. How far in advance was this operation planned?
It's something we've been discussing for a while. It takes a long time to put this many resources, 100 people together with the right expertise.
And Travis can
in the same
exploit
place
that.
at the same time. We also didn't want to, impact the public unduly because this is such a popular
If he can
area.
hide for a week,
So
they'll be gone again.
I would just say weeks and weeks. This has been in the works. Maybe actually more than that.
Were you counting on this weather? Or did you?
We'll take it. We'll take it.
And once more, when do you guys plan
He
on
could have pre-planned and packed
this
food.
area? Obviously, as we discussed, potentially 2 days to start, potentially longer, but what about now? Currently?
So right now, the game plan is for the area to be reopened Tuesday evening to the public. If we will change that, if something during the search dictates that we need to.
Yeah,
But at this
Pitbull.
point, it will be.
They don't ever get the
reopened,
reward
Tuesday
anyway.
And around what time? Do we have a
Yeah,
time
the Forest Service, websites post a specific time. I believe it's roughly 5 o'clock. The Forest Service website has for sure.
When we're
The
talking
Fox
about
reporter.
this search, is it day and night, or are we doing like a 9 to 5 search? What does that look like?
So it's more daylight hours is when we're searching. Even though it's really hot, we're searching daylight hours. We're going to have
Jesus.
personnel overnight at the scene, but they will not be conducting the search.
Remember we talked about him moving at
But
night?
It's daylight hours searching.
That's
gives
why.
us the highest probability of spotting something visually because this
And
is.
that's why he'll hide. He's
this is just an
nocturnal. I told you
old-fashioned
guys.
Ground search.
If he's still
As Sheriff
alive,
said,
he's
boots
nocturnal.
on the ground, eyeballs looking at the ground, and for anybody who's gone into this area and
These
hiked, they
fools.
know it's thick and dense. For anybody who's gone into this type of area and bushwhacked, which is what the teams are doing now,
Oh.
they know it's incredibly intense, and so it's just very manpower intensive.
And you say overnight personnel. What's their role in all this?
Scene security. Yeah, the scene is locked down. We don't want people coming in at night, so we have personnel to lock the scene down.
Is it unusual for the FBI to be involved in a search like this, and why or why not?
No, it's not. This is a federal crime. There's a federal warrant out for Travis
They don't want
Decker, and
anybody
so
to
it's not
sprain their
unusual.
ankle.
The FBI can bring, as we've talked about today, a tremendous amount of resources to these problems. A rural area, remote, no cell phone service. We can bring those resources to the table. We can partner up with our law enforcement partners to be force multipliers. But at the end of the day, there's a federal crime, several federal crimes that have been committed. And so we're shoulder to shoulder with the sheriff's office.
But why now? It's been almost 3 months. You guys have gone over this.
I wish, Sensei. I really wish it was like that. But the truth is, no.
Why now? Do you think you'll actually find something different?
Well, we have to believe that. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being. You can't be too thorough in a search like this. Like I said, it is such incredibly dense vegetation that anybody who walks down one of these trails could walk 10 meters off the trail.
There you go,
and
Sensei.
No one would ever know.
Now
they're
you're
there.
talking.
And so by coming in with a very, I would say, sophisticated search operation where everything has been divided up by GPS coordinates, responsibilities have been divided up.
They better have
very
those cameras up.
specifically. It's going to be documented electronically and visually what ground has been searched, what's been cleared, so that potentially future teams that come in don't need to go over the same area.
See, that's bullshit right there, because a lot of times they overlook things. That's the part that bothers me.
You know, evidence stomped all over potentially.
I think every location should
it's
be
never too
double
late to go look
checked.
for evidence. So no, we don't feel that way.
So I just want to be clear, is there
That's why social media is so powerful. They come in after the fact and they go and search these areas and find a lot of clues.
Or is it what I'm hearing? We just need to be abundantly thorough and cover that grid, which we know we can do in 2 days.
We need to be abundantly thorough and cover that grid very, very thoroughly, because the overgrowth, things on the ground get grown over very quickly. So we just want to be very thorough. There is no break in the case, to use your term.
And the equipment they're going to be using.
The winter's coming, is what he's saying.
Bushwhacking through.
It's about to get really, really cold.
So there's
the equipment,
nothing special.
That terrain.
So we have communications equipment back there because there's no cell phone service at all, but we have communications equipment back there so teams can be connected with our resources at FBI headquarters, outside resources if we need to bring additional things in, so the sheriff's office and the FBI can speak.
Thermal would pick
really,
that up, Sensei.
It is old-fashioned hard
Unless
work.
he covered
People
it with like
walking through the
thermal
woods, looking
blankets.
at the ground,
But it might be
within sight of
easy
each
to
other,
see.
not missing a single square foot to make sure that this area that
If
we were
anything, he's
responsible
underground
for
or in a
has
cave.
been cleared, and there's nothing of interest here. We need to now look somewhere else.
If he's smart, he would find a cave right next to water.
Enough to cover this, or the quarter-mile radius beyond the
Then he could
campground?
just hide all
Yeah, as
day.
of now, this is the right amount of time. We may actually be able to expand outside the quarter mile, depending on how the search teams do this afternoon and tomorrow. We may actually go
Oh,
further
he
out than
absolutely
what we
has night
initially
vision.
intended. So
That's how they'll catch him.
I suspect, I don't want to assume that you agree with the
They'll
sheriff
catch him at
that
night
historically,
with the
when you
thermals.
look at other cases, perhaps that are somewhat similar, oftentimes you may find
If they're
your
lucky.
suspect within that radius.
Yeah.
Do you believe that? And
Yeah.
and is that why? If you could just speak to that for a second.
yeah, the FBI believes that too, that, generally in these cases, not all the time, but a good amount of time, what we're looking for is not vastly different than the area where the crime occurred. So that is why we've centered our search operation today on where the crime occurred.
Does anybody think he's got any sort of help?
We're open to all possibilities.
You guys remember the Amanda Nenegar case? She was found 10 feet outside of the grid that law enforcement put forth.
Sheriff,
10 feet outside of their search
has a
grid.
team up there right now from the Spokane County Sheriff's
Completely
Office
naked
that's
against a
evaluating the
tree.
area. But I don't believe they're in the water today.
So we brought Spokane County Sheriff's Office's dive team in. There were
Absolutely
certain areas
not.
that our Swiftwater team could not access just because if you're diving underneath log jams.
Need
That was an area we didn't have the
cadaver
equipment for.
dogs.
So Spokane County, thanks to Sheriff Knowles, for the search areas that we weren't able to get to. They should have their scuba gear, their dive tanks. That's going to allow us to get into areas that, again, we weren't able to access. The National Park Service wasn't able to access. But we feel pretty confident with our Swiftwater team being in the water twice now to conduct searches since the water's come down. The National Park Service's Swiftwater Rescue Team been in the water for over 4 days. And now we have Spokane County Sheriff's Office's dive team going in the water too. We feel very confident the water.
I think they're expecting to find him deceased, Chopper.
We utilize what resources we have.
He kind of
to
hinted
make sure
toward
that we didn't
to
leave
that
any
earlier.
stone unturned.
And he kind of mentioned it again right here.
Beyond the grid search, do you guys have any other specific areas that you're keeping an eye on that are identified?
So for today, the operation is the grid search centering at the Rock Island campground. There are lots of areas that are interesting around here, of course, that a man can travel to on his 2 feet. But today we're just focused on the Rock Island.
Yeah, let us know, Mark. Keep us updated.
I have a question.
Yeah, they haven't found
Scott
that
Hobson
baby
with
Emmanuel.
Fox 13.
when you're, maybe not this case necessarily, but in your past experience, what kind of clues might you be looking for? Like maybe maybe perps lose ball caps or shoes or something.
Yeah, we're looking for anything interesting that is in the wilderness that would be left there by a person, specifically a man trying to evade law enforcement. So we're looking for anything.
If he's alive,
Are you guys still getting tips on that tip line?
he
Pardon me?
may
Are you
have
guys still hearing from tips on that tip line?
pre-planned and stored
Yeah,
a bunch of food,
absolutely. Tips still
MRIs.
come in, and every one of them is evaluated. Like I said, the FBI and partner agencies, the sheriff's office, the marshals have cleared literally hundreds and hundreds of tips, one by one. An agent or an investigator or a team of investigators is clearing each one of those tips. They are still coming in. Yes.
Have there been any sightings recently in this area that we
Oh,
might
not
know of?
MRIs. Did I say MRI? MREs.
Not
sorry.
from the FBI's
I was like, wait a
perspective.
minute,
I'm
that
not sure
didn't
if
sound
you
right.
followed up anything recently.
So we've had reported
MREs.
sightings. We've had our partnering agencies, and of course, our agency also tracked down. They have not turned out to be Travis, but again, we appreciate the community remaining vigilant, reporting it to us. And again, we're not going to overlook any investigation or tip that comes in. So we get it. Just our most recent sighting that we documented over there in Idaho. Clearly, that did not turn out the way we wanted to, but we appreciated the public again being aware of what was going on. Most recently here, I was talking to the sheriff of King County. It sounded like one of their council members had also viewed someone potentially when they were out hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. King County Sheriff's Office went out and did a follow-up on that. We appreciate it. We know they're spending around 12 hours more, from what I understand, doing a search, following up on that information. But again, it didn't pan out. But we continue to get it. Even today, as I was going through my mailbox, we had a couple more potential sightings that came in. We'll forward it back over to our partners, the U.S. Marshals Service and our investigators. But we do have things that we're following up on. And again, we appreciate the public for helping us out.
Sheriff, would you mind just reminding me, has there
Yep,
ever
I
been
agree,
a sighting
Sensei.
of him right in that rock?
And he could have
Creek,
plenty of food. There's no reason for him to
campground,
come out of
Rock
his little
Island
cave,
campground after
except
the
for
clothes
water.
were recovered?
There was one potential sighting that we had with our search crew when they were up in the enchantments area in the helicopter. We did track that down, but I'd also point out in Kittitas County, thanks to Sheriff Myers and his staff for following up and
He
helping
might
us
even
out.
have a shit
They
ton
had
of
an
propane
individual
to keep
that was
himself
a
warm.
potential sighting that took off running from them. They did catch up, and unfortunately, we just found out it was an individual who didn't like law enforcement. I don't think it's the first time we probably experienced that in our careers, but we get those kind of incidents as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Coming out today, everyone.
All right,
guys.
appreciate everyone
Appreciate
for
your
coming.
time.
Thanks.
That one's fine.
All right.
All right, guys, that's it. This will be our 5-minute warning. A big nothing burger.
So that was the latest
A
when it comes.
big fat nothing burger. Well, we know that he pre-planned it somewhat because he was looking at ways to kind of escape the country into Canada and things like that. So it's definitely pre-planned. He was living out there in that campsite for like 3 months. He could have been prepping that entire time for this very moment. He could be underground, plenty of food, plenty of water, able to evade the dogs and the thermal cameras on the drones and helicopters and people with binoculars and scopes and things like that. So it sounds like they're hoping that they're going to find his body. And this is, I don't like the arrogance. This is the arrogance, right? With all of our manpower and all of our expertise and all of our hot shot bullshit, he must be dead, right? We did everything we could to find him. He must be, we overlooked him. He's deceased in this area. And I think that's even coming from the FBI. They're saying, hey, you guys need to make sure you don't overlook this area, which is really good. You know, we said that from the beginning. Don't underestimate this guy. Because if he doesn't have psychosis, because if he does have psychosis, he's most likely dead. But if he doesn't, that makes him this really calculated, cold-blooded killer with a lot of training. Training beyond the military. He was a survivalist. You know, so it's almost like he used the training from the military to advance his survivalist skills. Fish, deer, rabbit, don't know what edible plants are out there. Yeah, I don't think he would take the chance. If this is pre-planned, he's not going to be doing any trapping, I don't think. I think he's going to have all this food stored up, and all he would need is maybe some hot or warm water. Nothing. Maybe just water in general. He could be hiding near a water source. So the only time they're going to be able to catch him is like maybe a 2-minute time frame, right? Where he sneaks out of his little hiding hole, fills up his canteen, and then sneaks back. Right? That's when they need to get him. So if he's alive, that's the scenario that I'm picturing in my mind. He's somewhere in some type of a cave that's very nearby water, and then something that he's kind of hidden away. Or he's deceased, or they're 100% right, and they did overlook his body. And that's what I believe they're trying to convey to the public is, hey, we did our best to search out here. You know, there's nothing. If he was out here, we would have found him. So he's most likely somewhere here, either alive or dead. Yep, Grunge says he for sure has thermal vision. Absolutely. And that evens out the playing field a little bit, right? He could even have the possibility of himself spotting them before, they spot him. But honestly, he's probably nocturnal, right? He just sleeps all day. That's what you do. If you're trying to evade capture, you're going to sleep while they're up and move while they're sleeping. It's just like avoiding the sun. Like if you're ever trapped in the desert, you just find a shady place in the middle of the day, fall asleep. When you wake up in the middle of the night, then you begin moving. Yeah, you might be right. That's interesting, Sensei says. He might have made certain traps so he knows if anyone has been near. So you remember when you were a little kid, and I don't know if you guys all had siblings like I did, but in order to see if anybody was like sneaking in your room or in one of your drawers, you would put like a little piece of tape or hair or something, and then when you got home, you would check the tape to see if it was busted. Like, oh, somebody was in my room, So Sensei's talking about something very similar to that. Maybe some even like a trip. I would assume he's burying that. That's something the dogs would find easily. He might even that's the thing that they might be able to catch him. I would assume he's somewhere near a water source, and when he needs to go to the restroom, that's probably where he goes so that it flows down the creek. Or he's burying it. Yep, he probably does have a cache. Sidearm, a rifle, maybe 3 weapons. Like a hunting rifle, like a 30-06 with a thermal scope on it. And then I would think maybe like an AR, maybe an AR pistol with another scope on it. And then some kind of a sidearm. Yep, freeze-dried food. Crunch as a primary rifle and sidearm. There you go. Maybe even a third. Yep. Survival straws and filters. You can create simple bag filters. Those are cheap online. Collecting water upstream. And he also could be right outside that perimeter. That's something that we mentioned. Remember during our live stream on geoprofiling? If he understands the workings of law enforcement, and we even said that a quarter mile, remember? Quarter mile perimeter. I mean, this is textbook. So if we can figure it out, why wouldn't a highly trained guy figure it out? We said typically people are found right outside of their quarter-mile perimeter. Just like Amanda Nenegar. In the Amanda Nenegar case, she called law enforcement and gave her coordinates. They still couldn't find her. They set up a perimeter around her vehicle. She was found 10 feet outside of that perimeter, completely in the nude, sitting against a tree. Like weeks later, after the search was over, by a volunteer trekker. Like this guy's, that's what he did for his business. I can't remember his name. But he went out there and he said, "You guys are screwing up." I remember what he said. He said, "You guys, you didn't check outside that perimeter." So he went right there. The first day he was there, within the first hour, he found her. So if Travis has that knowledge, he could be just outside that perimeter. So they're doing a quarter mile. He could be maybe a mile and a half out. Just hiding. What's up, Fishy? All right, guys, that's going to do it. Let's see. Wow, that's hopeful. What's the guy's name or case again? Amanda Nenegar. It was a California case. Still unsolved as to really what happened to her. They believed it was psychosis and that she died maybe of dehydration. All right, later on tonight, guys, we are going to be covering this case. Matthew McLaughlin, betrayed by his brothers in arms. So we have a lot to talk about. We may even be able to find a connection between these two idiots on the right and the Emily Pike case. Similar MOs. And it should be very interesting. Also, we'll look at potential connections to the Pandora Jules Rood and Evan Clark case, also known as the Mount Ord murders. These guys have connections between where they went AWOL to their New Mexico residence in California, which means they would have gone through not only Mesa, Arizona, possibly Mount Ord, and the location where Emily Pike was, where her body was dumped. This guy on the right, Rayner, cut Matthew into pieces, put him into two separate bags, and dumped him on the side of a highway. Exactly like Emily Pike. Right? They found one bag. There's one more missing. I mean, it's the same exact MO. So we're going to break that down a little bit later. And remember, we are 100% crowd-funded here at the Sleuth Intuition channel. So if you can donate, anything like that, we do put it towards gas money, boots on the ground efforts. It all goes towards the channel. But if you can't donate to the Cash App, just hit the like button or share the video. Consider becoming a member even. If you guys have any questions for me, sleuthintuition@gmail.com is how you can reach me. And if you're part of that replay crew, you know exactly what to do. Leave a comment and we'll get back to you. On that note, guys, I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace out.
I rest my case.